The bears are here.
The bears.
Every week, somebody said, or every day at the same time, usually between like 2 and 4.
They come in the morning, right? Or in
the afternoon. Bears.
That's wild.
All around
Why
this
did I
area.
think bears were like nocturnal?
I always thought they were like evening or dawn.
Right.
Yeah.
Not mid-afternoon. Come on, guys. It's too busy then.
How about the one at the West Farms Mall? Did we talk about that? Did you see those clips? The one that
I
went
saw
to
the clips. We thought maybe that was Caitlin's, but that's far away.
Yeah. That would be a long
What was
journey.
he doing? I didn't see them.
He was like in the parking lot, like scaring shoppers. They went flying into Macy's.
Oh my God.
He went to Rainforest Cafe.
I think that closed, Caitlin.
Yes, a long time ago.
I don't think I ever went. I remember walking by it when malls were a big deal and just dreaming. Same with Planet Hollywood. I didn't do any of that.
Rainforest Cafe was like the epitome of mall culture. That was like the peak. And then it was all just downhill when those left.
Well, and what is the new thing? I mean, listen, I'm not at a mall too often, but when I do, I sort of living my, what is the TV show that's all the, what's that retro TV show?
That 70s
My Brain
show?
Today. No. The one, Stranger Things.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
My brain today has been on the fritz. But they have those like giant ride-on animals that just go bopping around, like stuffies that you can sit on with wheels.
Oh,
That's the thing at the Trumbull Mall.
Really?
Yeah. Listen.
No.
Yeah, they have those at the Stanford Mall too. Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to get me to the mall, I'll tell you that much. But people seem to enjoy it. I don't know.
Yeah.
My kids rode them in Ohio like 2 years ago.
At the mall?
With my mother-in-law and their aunt, like our great aunt, took them to the mall so they could ride the animals. I was like, oh, okay.
I've never even seen these before.
You're not missing out.
Right.
They're kind of weird.
Yeah.
Although I kind of want to ride one around the mall.
I just feel like they have fleas and they're not alive.
Caitlin, they have fleas.
But do you think it's because they know that grown-ups have the money and so kids are the reason they're not coming to the mall? So if they have all these like wheelie stuffies that the kids will be like, I'm in, let's go to the mall. And then, or is it just some private like wheelie stuffy company that gets access to the mall?
I think they're trying to make malls, I just know because I work with Stanford Mall, more of like an experience. You know, like when you go shopping, like the Stanford Mall, there's like a roller skating is opening now in that mall.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah. So like, you know, they're trying to, and you know, they had a Halloween haunted house. They had a holiday wish for Christmas. So I feel like, I guess while you're shopping, you're going to take advantage of all those things. You know, I think it's like a different way to market.
They realize with online shopping that people don't have to go to the mall to buy things. Like you used to have to go to the mall. So now they're like trying to make things people
like a field trip
go for.
Yeah.
I do miss shopping in a store and being able to try on clothes because you'll go, they have nothing. I need to buy a bathing suit. Where am I going to go try on a bathing suit right now?
No.
I don't want a Target bathing suit. I don't want an Old Navy bathing suit. I want like a proper bathing suit that's going to last me a couple years, and there's nowhere.
No.
Yeah. You're going to have to order like from one site and get like, you know,
have
like
to order
Somersault and order like 13, and it's probably free returns at least, but it's a pain, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a pain.
And spoiler alert, none of them are going to cover your ass the way they want them to. So just go ahead and accept that right now.
Yeah, I know.
And that has nothing to do with your ass, which is quite petite. It has everything to do with the cut of these swimsuits.
It's true. Yeah.
I should send you guys the video of me modeling a swimsuit I was sent from a brand the other night. My sisters, I sent a picture and they're like, oh my gosh, it's so good. And I was like, no. Let me give you an up close. They're like, why is it cutting into your butt cheek like that?
Yeah.
I said, I don't know if it's supposed to be a thong. It's a one piece and it wanted to just cover my crack. That's it.
They're very cheeky now. Just rock the thong. It's fine.
No one wants to see that ever.
I shall not.
I kind of want to be with you when you rock that thong.
Do you see how white I am? It'll be a full moon for all of America if my ass is out.
We talked about that on here. Mooning's not a thing anymore. Was that on this podcast? I think so.
Or we need to bring it.
Do that.
No.
We need to bring it back. My family moons all the time.
Somebody will arrest you. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Well, don't you remember the
do
kids
any
on the
fun
bus?
things because somebody will be offended.
Yeah. Kids on the bus used to do it all the time.
Oh,
Right?
God, that was just the epitome of humor.
Yeah.
All right, we need to get started. Enough about the mooning.
Welcome to Just for Moms. I'm Charlotte.
I'm Caitlin.
I'm Megan.
And I'm Kallie.
We are regular moms
talking about regular stuff like
aging, parenthood,
work-life balance,
and figuring out what's for dinner. Again,
a no judgment zone to talk, laugh,
and maybe cry about all the things women think about on a daily basis.
All right, you guys. Time to rein it in from the butt talk. I could be speaking to my 6-year-old and my 4-year-old right now. Welcome back to Just for Moms. I'm Kallie here with Caitlin, Megan, and Charlotte. And I want to ask if you guys have heard about the Carnival Cruise Line dress code. Conspiracy is not the word. Like debate. Does anyone know about this? Okay, so Carnival Cruise Line, everyone knows, is one of the more like relaxed, not as stuffy cruise lines, right? I feel like that's based on their commercials. They seem. I've only been on 2 cruises my entire life. Based on the commercials, they seem like the more fun, relaxed one. While some are more like fancy and whatever.
Caitlin would wear her thong on that cruise.
You could wear your thong on the cruise.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, you can.
So, anyways, there's a whole in the cruise ship world, there's this whole like debate because they do have a dress code when you're in the main dining room that you can't, there's certain things you can't wear. Like you can't wear a swimsuit in the main dining room. You can't wear flip flops in the main dining room, but apparently they don't always enforce it. And so then some people are wearing it and then they're not enforcing it. And there's this whole debate because some people are like, you should have to dress nice in the main dining room. And then other people are like, it's vacation. You should wear whatever you want. And if you are bothered by what somebody's wearing, you're stuffy and no fun and you should not go on vacation. I don't know. This is what I got from the article. So I guess my question is, and we kind of actually were talking about this in the last episode, because Charlotte, you were talking about trying to convince your daughter to wear the proper shoes with her graduation dress and this sort of like this whole thing about dress code. And I feel like in this day and age, like it's such a blurry line now. Like there's so many things that you don't have to dress up for that you used to. And I'm wondering how you guys feel about it, because there's a huge part of me that's like, I think you should just wear whatever you want, like be comfortable, who cares? But there's also this part of me that's like, there's certain times you should be dressed up. And I think that that's appropriate. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm a rule follower. So I think that if there's a rule that you cannot wear X, Y, and Z in a dining room, and all of the people around you have paid the same amount of money as you to be on this trip, why do you get to break the rules? And I will say Carnival is the more laid back. I've been on a lot of cruises and a lot of different ones. And you will go in the dining room and you have people dressed. I mean, you're not supposed to wear jeans. You're not supposed to wear flip-flops. You're not supposed to be shirtless. And there'll be men who walk in a straight up bathing suit tank top. Like you have not changed since you were out on the island, and jorts and sandals, and they don't turn them away. And so it is not that that's like bothers me or affects how my experience or anything like that. But to say that these are the rules and then not enforce them I don't think that's right. And then what are your children supposed to think? So that's where I don't agree with that.
I'm with Caitlin. Follow the rules. I think having a dress code is a good thing. And I would follow the dress code being in the dining room. If there's other people not following it, I don't really care. I mean, I'm going to make my family follow it if that was me there. And I think it's good for our kids to have a dress code. It's also, the old school way that I was brought up when, even now still when I'm around my parents and I'll get a text from my dad, hey, we're all going to dinner Saturday night. Remind the girls, like, please no short skirts and no tank tops, and tell Nico he can't wear a hat. Same sort of thing. I think it's good. And it's not going to affect me if other people's daughters are wearing short skirts. I feel like it's, whatever works best for your house. And the dining room is, a place that I guess, like is more elegant to wear. And you wouldn't wear a bathing suit and a cut off shirt from the pool. But if some guy wants to roll in and do that, I'll observe him and let him do his thing, but I'm not going to do it.
Aren't these cruise ships like moving villages. I guess my
Yes.
thought is,
Okay, Charlotte said that.
but isn't it as simple as having one place to eat where you can wear whatever you want and then have the main area be, a slightly more elevated expectation? Because I don't know, dress codes are tricky to me. Like, I can overthink it and get bogged down, but I think overall, when you're more presentable, your behavior sort of follows. Like, it's hard to be reckless in a coat and tie. It happens, but I do think that there's a correlation between the way we behave and the way we look. And so I can appreciate that if you've spent money to be on a vacation, that at the end of the day, you would like to have sort of a quieter, more kind of civilized isn't quite the right word, but just a different dining experience than just like a snack bar with a bunch of French fries. So I can see that you would want it. And I agree with you, Caitlin, like why people are paying the same amount of money with the same expectations. So there should be a way to enforce it. But I don't know. It seems to me that if like bro with a tank top wants to roll right off of the island, just go to whatever the
Pool deck.
Yeah.
Lido.
Yeah.
Go to
Lido.
Lido deck.
Right.
Yeah, well, I'm glad. I mean, I kind of feel the same way. I feel like there's options for these people on the cruise ships if they don't want to have to dress in other things. And I feel like there is, like you said, Charlotte, there's something about the way that you dress that may make you act a certain way. And I think that we can show, like, I think it shows a level of respect by dressing certain ways in certain places. And I don't think that makes me such an old school old lady.
No. And I've been on cruises growing up. I haven't been in years, but I feel like that was the fun of it, was dressing up every night, and like we had to get a few gowns or dresses, whatever, and they would email you like what the itinerary was, and it was like that's what made the cruise fun. If you don't want to follow that, I don't know, just go to like Jamaica or something, and I think you could wear your thong and wife beater. No one will care, right?
If you tell my 10-year-old that it's like look nice or not even dress up, but just we're not going to wear sports clothes.
Yeah.
He has a handful of legit Hawaiian shirts that he will pull out on a dime. He loves, and he'll wear it with a pair of pants. He might even grab a blazer. That's his uniform when he has to look nice. And on we go. We had to went to dinner with friends at one of the local clubs, and they have, their dress code is like, don't wear bathing suits. And maybe the men have to wear collared shirts, but it's nothing super rigorous. And this is how he rolled in with
love that.
like seersucker pants, Hawaiian shirt, and a blazer.
That's so fun.
Yeah, he's ready.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Could be way worse. That's pretty good. I like it. Hawaiian shirt with a blazer. I think it always works. Some style. Yeah, sure. He's got some style.
Yeah.
All right. Who's got a mom fail for us this week? Megan, do you have any mom fails?
Yeah. So I've been having a hard time cooking meals, guys. I've been ordering and doing the drive-through Wendy's and McDonald's. I'm just failing at cooking dinner. I do good with breakfast and some, lunch, but like the dinner is just not doing a good job. I feel like I just, again, I should make the time, but I'm lazy and no one likes what I make. And it's just like, so that's my mom fail. It's just, I've been doing a crappy job at dinner.
But you're feeding your children, and that's important.
Thank you.
So
I mean,
you're
fine.
doing a good job.
They're fine. They probably love it.
Figure it out. Fine.
Caitlin?
I had my first moment where I embarrassed my oldest, and she's always never really cared about like what I look like or how I dress. And we went to a color run for the middle school that she's going to, and it was a big fundraiser. Now, mind you, I am the volunteer table for their dance studio. So we didn't get to go last year, and all of my mom friends were like, oh, well, you wear a shirt that says the dance company on the front of it, and then you wear a tutu. I'm like, cool. Okay. What tutu do I order? They send me the link to get the one on Amazon. And when I opened it, it was like looked like it belonged on Arbor, and it just like sticks straight out. So I'm like, oh gosh, this is funny. And so I put it on and I come downstairs, and Annabelle was like, what are you wearing? I was like, what? She's like, you can't wear that. And I said, why can't I wear that? I'm representing the dance studio. I have a tutu on. It's fine. She said, that doesn't fit you. I said, well, what do you mean it doesn't fit me? I have it's not like I'm going pantsless. I have leggings on and you can't see anything. She said, are all the other moms wearing that? And I was like, yeah. And so I just have never felt so, what's the
Judged?
word? Judged. And yeah, I've never felt so judged in my life as a mother. I mean, not even, no, never. And so once we got there and she saw all the other moms in tutus, we were fine. But it's only the beginning.
Yeah, I feel like it's just going to get worse because I get
Yeah.
it every day.
Megan's like, buckle up.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What's that eyeshadow? Okay, I didn't ask you.
Yeah.
Charlotte, do you have a mom fail for us?
I mean, kind of. It's a mom fail from the perspective of my kid. When my kids turn 10, they get a little trip. We use miles or whatever, and we take them to Universal, just one of us. So it's a simple one-on-one. My husband just took my youngest. And it's that time of year when, the trip has been booked for a couple of months, but then 19 things have sprung up between the time we booked it. And they've since returned. So I think he's redeemed himself. But when he was leaving, he was missing a recorder concert at school. So they've been working up to this for weeks, if not months. There was like an end of the year scrimmage. Like there were just a couple of things that happened to land on the weekend. And so he left like kind of in a shitty mood because he was like, I just don't want to go. And we were like, trust me, buddy, I think it's going to be worth it. Spoiler, it was worth it. But I mean, I feel badly. They've been working for it and it's fine. And he'll perform for us in the living room. But I don't know. He was not happy about that. I mean, he's happy about the trip. So I guess both can be true.
Yes. There's too
So
many
that-
things on the
Too many things.
calendar to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll do my mom fail really quick and then we'll jump into today's topic. So, my 2-year-old has been potty trained, but he still was using like the little potty, not like the step up onto the big potty.
Yes.
And he decided that when he had to go poop, he wanted privacy, which is fine. All my kids go through the phase where when they poop, they want privacy. But because he was still in the little potty, like I kept kind of, every like minute I would like check on him because the little potty, you got to like carry it over to the real potty. He was very adamant he wanted privacy. And so I was trying to just check carefully, whatever. I finally check. It's too late.
No.
He has gotten up and God bless him was like time to dump the poop in the potty, but it didn't all make it in the potty.
Oh, boy.
And then you could tell he tried to fix his
Oh,
mistake.
God.
And there was just poop everywhere. And I walk into it and I'm like, I can't be upset. Like he did
No.
this.
Yeah.
God bless, I have other kids that just want me to do it all for them. So like, God bless him at barely 2 was like, I'll dump my poop and I'll wipe myself and I'll just take care of it all. But there was a lot of, just thank God we have Lysol bleach spray,
Oh, Tate. So cute,
know.
though. He
Good
tried.
Boy. Good boy.
He was so good.
Yeah.
I know.
Maybe he
One of
should
those
call
weird moments
Arbor.
where I'm like, I'm proud of you, but also,
Yeah.
ew.
Next time, call for mom.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
we have since retired the little potty. He's just gonna
Oh.
figure it out on the big one, so it's
Okay.
fine. The little potty is gone. Okay, so today what I wanted to talk about is being thrifty and getting thrifty in parenting. So start with some stats. We love to start with stats. So I found a study that was done by Lending Tree, and it found that the annual costs associated with raising a child had jumped 35.7% since 2023.
Earmuffs.
So-
Oh,
Earmuffs.
wow.
Yes.
Damn.
That is in 2 years, almost a 36% increase in 2 years. And so the three things that it pulled out as being the biggest increase was childcare, food, and health insurance. So in the study, they interviewed this guy, Matt Schultz. He was the Lending Tree chief consumer finance analyst. And he said, when big costs like childcare shoot up by 40% plus, it can be a real crisis. That extra money has to come from somewhere. So it forces families to make some difficult decisions. So obviously childcare is, and so in this study, actually the 35.7% was for people raising, they consider it like small children. So like under 5 years. And then they did one for school aged and then one for like high school, which they all went up. That was obviously the biggest one because of the childcare cost. But I wanted to talk about, I feel like we probably all have a place somewhere in our budget that in the last like 2 or 3 years, we're like, why is this getting so much more expensive than it was? The cost, I feel like, of groceries just keeps going up and up. I just feel like everything around me, I mean, I know for us every year, the cost of childcare goes up wherever we have been. Like every year we get that letter that's like, hey, it's going to be more next year. So that's always one that's constantly going up. I feel like most of us, if we own a house, maybe not an issue. We got our house reassessed, so our taxes are going up. My mom is trying to move, so she's looking at rental properties, and she literally sent me one today that was listed, I think, 4 years ago, and had increased. The rent had increased 50%. In
Wow.
3 years.
That's nuts.
So it's just like everywhere, right? I just feel like everywhere I turn, it's like we're like everything is getting so much more expensive. So my first question, before we kind of dive into maybe some of the things that we're doing around it, is if you had to pinpoint one of the things that you feel like has been getting away from you the most in budget, that you think has increased the most, would you say like you feel like groceries are going crazy? Has it been childcare costs for you? Like what's one of the ones, or maybe it's maybe not even related to just costs in general. Maybe you just have more kids in sports. And so that's one. What's one of the line items right now that's in the parenting world sort of costing you the most? Charlotte, you want to go first?
I think it's two things. I think our salaries have mine has gone down. I'm just not making nearly what I used to. And then my husband's has been flat. And then I think sports for us has been a big one. The more competitive your sports get, the more, I mean, these clubs teams are thousands of dollars, and a handful of our kids are at an age when there's not really an option to keep playing in the town rec leagues. I mean, sure, we could, but I think that has been the biggest difference that I would say.
Caitlin, what about you guys?
Groceries for sure, because now we have a third who eats as much as everybody else. Extracurriculars, dance, but medical bills, like the dentist. I mean, and I have my oldest has was born with hypoplasia in her teeth, so she's had a lot of issues just forever. And I swear, I mean, we're always paying something at the dentist, or the doctor's office is like, I mean, my children have had some health things come up, but nothing's ever fully covered. So like you have to go get an x-ray. We still end up paying whatever. And it's like, I'm just always seeing a new medical bill come in. And I'm like, how is this not covered? Why am I paying for an x-ray that they said that she had to have? And so, yeah, I would say that.
Yeah. Megan?
I would say definitely the kids' activities. Actually, we make a spreadsheet for fall, spring, and summer just to see how much it costs, just so like we can budget that out. And obviously, Joe, pays most of that. Yeah, it's crazy. Both of my girls are in dance, and they're part of like the company, and they're there like right now because their recitals are coming up 7 days a week. And then Nico's in a travel sport, Gianna's in a travel sport. So I would definitely, and then when you get into summertime, you have the camp version of everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you could buy like a car at the end of the year with how much money you spend on these kids' activities. And like, if they enjoy it and if they're hardworking and they want to be part of it, I see the value in spending the money there for sure. If they don't want to do it, I don't push my kids to do anything they want to do. So, but yeah, it just adds up quick. And every year, it's more. And then like, with the soccer, Nico does travel soccer, and then his number stays the same the past 3 years. But why do we have to order a new uniform and jersey every year? And like the design changes. I'm like, and that's like buying 2 jerseys is like $250. And I'm like, he could have worn the same one the past 3 years, like it's just a money maker too. So, but again, it's all part of it. And, you're invested. And, another point to that too, is like I say to my husband, when he says how expensive like the girls' ballet bill is, I'm like, well, what do you want them not to do it? And he's like, no, but it's just so expensive. And I'm like, I know.
Yeah,
it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's so many of the things. I mean, same with, they just hit you, and it's like, yeah, I mean, what's the other option, on
Yeah.
some
What's
of
the
them. It's really-
alternative? Sorry, guys, you can't
Yeah.
dance.
Or
Yeah, you can only
the
cut so much.
registration fees always make me giggle too, for like the performance, and then there's another one, and then the costume for the dance, like, there's an extra for this, but there's not for that, and it's like, okay, here's another $60-$50. I mean, what else do you want from me?
Yeah. Yeah, for us, I feel like groceries is one, just because we now have all four at eating age, so that's always one that's growing. And like suddenly I have a 6-year-old that can he can't split a meal with his sister anymore. Like he can eat I can't make one box of mac and cheese, gotta do the two, gotta order the second pizza.
Yeah.
That's a big one. And then, I mean, my kids, I've got 3 kids in childcare age, that need either daycare or a nanny, or, they're not school aged. So that one is, I mean, it just every year just goes up. And Michael and I talk about it all the time. We're like, I mean, this year and next year are probably the most expensive years for us, especially childcare wise, just because we have 3 children in need of childcare, which is crazy. So one of the things that we have been doing with groceries is I've been getting like a lot thriftier with my groceries. And so that's kind of what I want to lead into, are like, what are some of the things that you guys have done to help either mitigate the costs, or places that you have cut costs to make up for where you're spending extra. So I was joking with a friend the other day, but I was like, I buy generic butter now, which seems really silly, but like butter was one of those always like gold standard for me, that like I always wanted the good butter, which is silly. We all have our things, right? But I'm at the point where I'm like, just give me the cheapest butter. Give me the like generic eggs, where like it used to be like the organic farm. I'm like, I can't do every kind of these, the special this and that. So I've definitely gotten a lot, I guess, if thrifty is the word, or just more lax about it, where I'm like, we're getting fed, and like I can't spend thousands and thousands of dollars in groceries to get organic cucumbers. I just can't do it. So that's a big one that we've been doing lately. I've been better about going to Costco, because as you guys know, when I moved last year, now I'm 10 minutes from a Costco. So I've been better about using Costco properly, not just buying a bunch of stuff. So I'm curious, what are some of the things you guys do in your house that help you cut costs, or places that you cut the budget so that you can spend it somewhere else? Caitlin, do you want to go first?
I kind of similar to what you said. No, you didn't say this. I shop around. Costco, yes. Costco, I used to kind of just go in there and be like, oh, this is fun and this is fun. But our basement fridge broke, and I stored a lot of stuff in there. And I swear it was the pandemic that made me feel like I needed to stockpile, like there was going to be another pandemic tomorrow. So for a long time, I was just spending a lot of money on things to store in the basement. And then a lot of times they'd end up never being used, or they'd go bad, or I'd give it all the way to the canned food drive that the kids were doing at school. When the fridge broke, I realized, and then also some life changes. I was like, I can't spend money like this on groceries. Like I don't have the money to be spending like this, period. So Costco is a very smart trip. Like there's certain things I only buy there. Walmart delivery, I pay for that, because if I enter any store with my toddler, I'm going to walk out spending $100 more than I wanted to. So I only shop online there. If I ever need anything at the regular grocery store, I tell myself, go in and buy that one thing and get out. And then because I cut costs at all these other places, then when we go to our local market, this produce store, I will spend a little more there. And the meat is better and the seafood is better. But my kids will say, oh, I want mini muffins while we're at the produce store. And I'm like, no. I buy those at Walmart. They're $4 cheaper. So that's what I have to do.
Yeah, I find, especially with groceries, I order all my groceries, which at one point was just necessity. With children, like getting into the grocery store was really hard. But I found that like I save so much money. I can look through the ad, I can add to it, I can go in and be like, oh wait, why is the balance this high? And then like delete some stuff that maybe was just extras I didn't really need. As such a money saver for me to do the online shopping. Yeah. Absolutely. Which I feel bad, because like I want to go into the store. It feels like the right thing
I
to
love
do.
it. when you actually do go in the grocery store after a long time,
So
you're
exciting.
like, look at how many exciting things they have. You're on an app, you don't know about any of the new products.
It's true. Charlotte, what about in your house?
Similar, having a meal plan has been helpful. I've always, since COVID, I've ordered for pickup, to all your point about adding extras. I also will not ever go into a store if I don't have to. It brings me no joy. So I do love just being able to sit at my kitchen counter and do it. But having a meal plan has cut out all the impulse purchases. And it's, I would just before I would get a little meat and a little produce, and they wouldn't necessarily go together. And so I just felt like we were throwing out more food than normal. So having a meal plan, it's like, oh, right, there's a purpose to all these things and they get used. Um, it's a little harder now that they're older and more particular, but until recently, everything they wore was secondhand. I would just go to Once Upon a Child 1 or 2 times a year. And that saved a lot. And I was pretty forensic about recycling clothes. I just had like a shelf just filled with Tupperware filled with clothes. The boys were a little harder on their clothes than the girls, so they just needed new stuff. But I mean, I don't know. I think I probably spent a couple $100 a year on clothes for 5 kids, and that's, that could be one Target run if you let it. So that was helpful. And then I mean, it sounds silly and this is a suburban thing, but I do all of our yard work. We used to have a lawnmower that would come through, and now that's on us. So we have, either one of the kids will do it or I'll do it, or we have a robot mower, and then, I'm spreading mulch. So that it's, it's a seasonal type of thing, but that's a few $1,000. And those little things, we're in the position as a family where I'm not counting pennies. So if I need a $10 thing on Amazon, I'm going to get it. If I'm out with the kids and they want a cake pop at Starbucks, I'm going to get it. But we're pretty lean. I wouldn't say that we eat out maybe once a week, and that is usually like Shake Shack or something. So overall, we're sort of in this spot of, we don't travel. We don't, these kids are not on airplanes unless we have miles. So we're pretty frugal with like the big stuff, but it means that we can be a little bit more lenient and relaxed with the smaller things. So I don't feel guilty getting them a pack of gum when we're checking out at the grocery store. I mean, maybe that's a stupid example, but I'm not counting pennies to that extent because we just aren't doing a lot of big ticket purchases.
I think the hand-me-down one is a good example. I didn't bother with hand-me-downs at all when I had 2, and by the time I had my 3rd, I was like, this is getting ridiculous to like rebuy something I had already owned for another one. And so then I got really good about it, and it does save so much money. Like at the beginning of the spring season, being able to go down and realize like I had a bunch of stuff for Finley that I was able to pull out because somebody had given it to me at one point and I'd stashed it away. And that Tate is, because he's big, he already fits into some of the stuff that I'd saved from Miles when he was 3. And so I was able to do just like one order from Old Navy. I think we kept it like right at $200, and like everybody was done after that. So that
Yeah,
one,
you get like the bathing suits and stuff that you just can't
or just
hand
yeah,
down.
like you said, it's opposite for me. Finley is much harder on her clothes than my boys are, so poor Opal needs mostly new clothes. But yeah, or like underwear. I'm not like hand me down.
No.
I mean, the underwear is not happening.
And I do hand-me-downs also, for me, I'm going to go on Poshmark before I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going to look on Facebook Marketplace or like fly through Goodwill. I mean, not that this is a huge line item in our budget, but those are usually my first instincts is where is Facebook Marketplace, Poshmark. Can I get this secondhand or used before I'm just ordering it?
I even go on eBay sometimes, Charlotte, too, and
Sure.
find stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
about you, Megan? Oh, go ahead, Caitlin.
Yeah, go ahead, Caitlin.
I was just going to piggyback off the hand-me-down thing. I said this in a couple episodes ago about I have so much clothes in my basement because I don't want to give them away. But I also, for a long period of time, granted, Annabelle and Eiley are 2.5 years apart, almost 3. They were born in completely different seasons. And Eiley was a bigger baby, just bigger overall. So she never fit in anything of Annabelle's at the right time. And we finally hit that point where I don't even have to shop for Eiley probably for the next two seasons because there's so much stuff. And we just keep finding more and more that might be labeled wrong in a basket that she can wear. Now, Arbor, though, I gave away a lot of stuff, not thinking I was ever having a third daughter, or Eiley ruined it all. So I'm buying for my toddler and then I'm buying for my oldest. What I have found is even when my oldest isn't making fun of what I'm wearing, she does kind of likes my clothes. So she can borrow from me, which has been great. And before I give anything away that I don't think I'm ever going to wear again, I offer it up to her first. So she's got a lot of stuff saved for when she gets a little bit bigger for basically cold months. But I
feel like it's
helpful.
One of those things like hand-me-downs is like once you start doing it, you realize you can do it more and more. And like with so many things that you don't always, you hadn't always thought about. Like it's like it's sort of like a habit. I don't know.
It's fun.
All right, Megan. What do you guys do?
So in our house, we do the Costco for certain things and also the grocery store. I don't do organics. I just have cut it out over the years just because it's expensive. Another thing that I love is like the apps that CVS and my Acme store have. I live on those. Like before I go into the store, and I know it's like time consuming, like certain people are like, I don't have time for coupons, but like I save a lot of money. And I feel like sometimes I'll only go to a store if I get a coupon, like those CVS Extra Care, even like sometimes I'll go on like Groupon, like if the girls want to see a show in the city, like there's still good deals on that Groupon and Living Social. And I'm always, we went to go see the Nutcracker. I found a deal. I always like Google. And again, it is time consuming, but if you have the time and you want to save the money, you can do a little research. And what else? Oh, like the girls like to go to Starbucks. So I tell them each once a week. And that's good because it adds up and that's not a necessity. I know it's like cool to walk around town with a Starbucks, but like there needs to be a budget because it adds up and it's just silly. And like Nico likes to get these squeezy mates from the Mobile Mart in town. Same thing. He was asking for it like 3-4 times a week. And I'm like, buddy, we could go once every 2 weeks. But like, what do you like when we get home? Can you like help mommy fold the towels or I try to make them do like chores, like, cause that was how I was brought up. We weren't just given things. My mom would be like, okay, you want that from CVS? When we get home, you need to fold the load of laundry on the bed, So and I do love hand-me-downs. My friends, family, neighbors, I've done hand-me-downs. I think it's great. My girls like it. My girls, obviously, it trickles down. And now we all kind of share clothes, which is good and bad. But like a local consignment store opened up here last week and I went and I found all this good stuff. And at first, like my older was like, well, isn't it like rolled her nose and her eyes? I said, there is nothing wrong with that. You can wear that. Like mom wears you stuff too, and she's like, wow, this is really good stuff. I'm like, don't have that attitude. We're like, I love, like, again, I love, you feel good when you buy and save money and it's a good deal. And then another point that I made in my notes is restaurants. I feel like going out to eat, we've obviously learned through the years, is a huge expense. So we've definitely cut back. And when we do go out to eat, now that my kids are all older and my girls eat what we eat, like we were out to eat and Gianna ordered like the salmon special. And then it came to my turn. So I was like, oh, okay, I think I'm just going to get the pasta now rather than the steak. Because I was like, it's expensive. So, you go out to even sushi too. They eat like all these like rolls and everything. And I'm like, okay, I'll have edamame and the miso soup and whatever they don't eat.
It's a special occasion in the Smith house when the kids can order drinks because that's where they screw you. I'm sorry, $4.95 for a thing of 7-Up, like So they never. It's always water for the kids, and we do the same thing, Megan, with jobs. Because for Starbucks, I have a couple of kids. Oliver now with DoorDash. He was like, "This is close. It's at the Trumbull Mall," and I was like, "No. Like, yes, technically you can do it, but like, don't be an asshole getting some like cheesesteak from the Trump. That's 40 minutes. I don't know. I just was like." just because you can. But I will pay them to do, to my yard work comment, I will go through the transaction of do some work and I'll come up with stuff for them to do. And then we will pay them so that it is their money. So there's like a 0 point, which is just a point of, it's just a different order of like, come home and fold the laundry if I'm to give you the Starbucks, because then I feel like it just is showing my older kids. I don't do this with Arthur, but for my older kids, it shows them like, it's your money.
Yeah.
If you want to do a $45 DoorDash, like that's
Spend
2
your own
hours.
money.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
2 hours of mowing my lawn that is going to that cheesesteak. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, I feel like it's fun for them. Like at the high school, they stopped it, thank God. They used to be able to DoorDash things to the door and all the delivery stuff. So Ava would like text me like, "Can I order crumble?" And I'm like, "No. No, this is getting out of hand." Cuz it's like cool to go and get it,
Of course.
Yeah, and one last thing too, like Ava just had her birthday and she wants a new makeup vanity. And my thing is looking at these ones online, putting them together. I'm not good at putting stuff together. And Joe's really busy with work. I mean, if we were to order it, it would eventually, yes, get done. But I'm looking like on Facebook Marketplace and, I was showing her ones and I'm like, Eva, there's nothing a matter. And then it's all put together and I can see it. And I just, again, the time and the money to buy a new one, right now, we haven't found one, but I'm like, we're going to keep looking. I'm telling you, I find great stuff on Facebook Marketplace, like amazing deals, Serena and Lily stuff. And there's nothing a matter with it. And it's just, and it's fun to, look to and know how much money you saved.
I think a lot of it is like, it's so easy to just like go online and not only can you buy something really easily, but you could just search to find the perfect thing. So it's become such an easy thing to just purchase it. But then, then it shows up. We did the same thing when I was pregnant with Opal. We had moved recently. And so I was like putting stuff in and out of boxes. And I was like, I refuse to buy one piece of furniture for this nursery because I will not put any furniture together. I refuse to we're not doing it.
And you know what I regret doing too, Kallie, with the kids and all the baby stuff? I wish I bought used stuff because with the baby stuff, oh my gosh, like so silly. Even the stuff you register for, some of it, they're in it for like 1 or 2 months and it's so expensive.
Yep. Yeah. So that's why I refused. And I just like went to not Goodwill's. What's the other one? The Restore store. And I just got a dress
Once Upon a Child, Facebook Marketplace. I got all that stuff on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, it's all on there. I just joined are you guys part of the no buy Facebook groups? I just joined ours in our town. I had never done one before. Wow, they got everything. There was a person with like nice patio furniture, and then the next one is like, I have a 6-pack of Dr. Pepper. And you're like, it is.
Yeah. The other
Everything
day
goes.
it was like tons of butter. They accidentally ordered all this butter and they're like, I'm not even asking for money. Just get it out of my house.
Yeah. Ours is very strict. You can't ask for money. It is only no buy stuff. It's only for free or barter. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. Okay, we should probably move into our guest because I do want to talking about money with children, but I feel like that is a whole nother discussion. Like when I was thinking about just budgeting and money, I was like, we can go so many different ways, but these are like whole other topics. So I wanted to focus on this one being just about kind of being thrifty in some of the ways that we find our budget gets away, and then some of the ways that we cut costs. So anyways, I do have a guest for today. I am talking to Justine Nelson. She's the founder of Debt Free Millennials. And after she paid off $35,000 of student loans on a $37,000, I want to say this right, $37,000 salary, she began sharing some of her tips that she used, her strategies. She has she has a YouTube channel. She has an online, like a website, an online store. I want to say a website, Kallie, is the word that you're looking for, where she empowers people to take control of their finances. She's now a mom of 2. She just had her second, I want to say in the fall. And so I just wanted to chat with her about some of the ways that she budgets as a mom, some of her real world approaches to managing money while also raising a family. So we will jump into her interview now. All right, Justine, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited to have you on. I've actually been thinking about having you for a guest for a while, and today's episode was perfect.
Yay. Thanks for having me. Thanks for inviting me. This is perfect timing, just fresh off maternity leave. So here we are.
I know. I didn't want to invite you too early because you just had baby 2 It's 6 is she 6 months old now?
She's 5 months old. So yeah, had her in January and adjusting to a life of two. It feels like she's always been a part of our family, but also I'm just learning this baby. It's so weird.
No, I totally get what you mean. Sometimes it'll be like a month into having a baby, and you can't remember what it was like without them, but at the same time, you're like, they've only been here for a few months. So
Exactly.
I know.
Exactly. But she's such a sweetie. So
Yeah. Well, in today's episode, me and the girls were talking about a little bit about budgeting as moms, but mostly about some of the ways that we've had to learn to be thrifty in motherhood, especially just in the last few years as things just seem to be getting more and more expensive. So, my first question for you is, how has becoming a mom changed either your relationship with money or how you budget in your day to day or in your weekly life?
So I thought about this question like in two parts because my relationship with money, if anything, motherhood has strengthened that in a very positive way. And I'm just grateful for the way that I was able to address financial issues early on. When I graduated from college, I had $35,000 in student loan debt and I was making just $30,000 in income at that time. And I thought, wow, I don't want to be stuck living this life in payments. I had always envisioned me like living in a big city in a high rise and like upgrading my car. And I knew that debt payments were just going to hold me back. So I was really diligent in paying off my debt early. And because of that, it's given me the ability to, really walk into my marriage debt free, walk into motherhood with no payments so that I can set money aside for kid related things, 529 plans, a really robust health savings accounts because as we all know, kids come with medical expenses and having the ability to afford to pay that has been everything. Activities, all of the things. I feel like my relationship has definitely grown in a positive way in aspects of finances. But the biggest budget change since becoming a mom has been making room for childcare, whether that be a nanny, a daycare, babysitters. It's by far the biggest expense that a parent of any young children will incur.
Yes, we talked heavily on that one, especially just in those first 5 years of life before your child is into school, unless of course you decide to go the private school route, but just how big of an expense that is and how that one just continues to keep growing. I mean, what you were paying 5 years ago for daycare is not what you are paying now. So I guess going off of that one, that leads really good into my next question, which is what have you noticed to be one of the biggest pain points in budgeting for people in like the last 1 to 2 years, maybe 3 years? What do you notice that most people are struggling with, whether it's in the parenthood category or not?
Yeah, so I work specifically with millennials through my business, and in talking to my community, inflation has been a big pain point for most, and as a result, a lot of people come to me and say like food expenses in general have been crazy, whether you are grocery shopping or you're eating out, both aspects. Food has just gone up, and that's been a big pain point because you got to eat. The second thing is housing affordability, the ability to be able to purchase your first home. And I'm seeing a lot more people get into these buy now, pay later programs. Affirm, Afterpay, Klarna. I'm sure you've seen them. Even big banks like Chase are wanting to have you be put on a payment plan for things that you buy. And so as a result, even though it sounds good, you're like, oh, I can take this $100 purchase and break it down into 4 months of $25. Great. Well, when you continue to do that with a purchase at Marshall's and a purchase at Target and a purchase at Walmart, it all adds up and you get into this cycle of spending more than what you make. That's been a huge issue within the last few years. And those with higher incomes, I feel like lifestyle creep can be a real issue because you are earning more money, but as a result, you're kind of adding in more expenses as you go. And so it can be very overwhelming to a point where now you're incurring some credit card debt because you just can't keep up with how much you're spending.
Yeah, I think the lifestyle creep, I love that. We didn't get into that in this episode, and I would love to talk about it more with some of the girls. But I even personally have noticed that when you add lifestyle creep with inflation, I feel like that's where, for me personally, that's where I always like end up having to like come to heads and be like I joked about it in the episode. I was like, I have to buy generic butter now, which is not the end of the world. Like, that's not crazy. But for me, that was one of those things. Like, I always bought the fancy organic butter, and I was like, no, like we're buying the generic butter. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yep.
like it was one of those things where they come to a head for me. And those two, I feel like, I don't know. I don't know what it is about the generic butter, but for me, that was one of those where it's
Yeah.
like, it's time to buy the generic butter.
Yeah. When you shop brand name versus generic, it can be a big difference. I mean, the Kraft American cheese slices versus the store brand, it's just there's no comparison.
Mhm. I know but it is worth it in the budget because the groceries are just getting out of hand,
Yep.
at least for me.
Yep.
Okay, so for parents or any millennial who's listening, who's in a place where they are feeling a little overwhelmed by money right now, maybe they're in that place where those two things are butting heads, or they've just added new expense of childcare or whatever it is, they're feeling like they're drowning in expenses. What is like one small step? Like if you had one little tidbit that you give to people to make them feel more in control of their finances, which I know is a really broad topic because with finances, like it depends on so many things. Like, do you have debt and what's your income and all of that? But if you have like one little thing that you would give to somebody, what would you offer?
Yeah. So regardless if you're a parent or not, creating a budget is the first step. And if you're like, oh my god, but the budget is the bad B word, start with writing down your income and expenses for the next 2 weeks. I'm not even talking a whole month, 2 weeks. Identify your fixed expenses, the things you know that you must pay, whether that be mortgage, rent, utilities, bills, and then identify your fun expenses. Hey, I know I'm going to be going out to eat, I shop. Identify those, and if you're unclear or unsure of how much you spend on those expenses, go back into your transactions, your bank account statement, your credit card statement, and take a look at what has happened in the past 2 weeks to help inform the next two. So creating a budget is like the first step for parents, especially, you're juggling multiple children, you're juggling multiple expenses for said children. Creating a shared checking account with your partner so you have more visibility of what's coming in and going out. I've worked with families who have kept their expenses and their finances separate. So there were two checking accounts and two savings accounts, but having one central location for your money of where you're paying for shared expenses such as daycare activities, clothes for the kids, whatnot. Being able to have visibility into one another's spending behavior is just going to create the awareness of like, oh, okay, this is absolutely something we need to pay for. Daycare, we absolutely need to pay for. Did we need to buy the extra clothes at Old Navy this month? Maybe not. It gives you visibility into what your partner is doing so that moving forward, you can make those decisions together.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like for me, it's always slightly humbling, but one of the best things that my husband and I do is once a month sit down and we look at everything that was purchased. Like we have one card that we use for fixed, and then we have one card that's used for the extra stuff. So it's easy for us to see it. And it's always a little humbling, but it is a helpful habit and like practice to look at all of those purchases and like you said, sort of be like, did we need this? Was this necessary? We were talking in the episode that we just did a no buy, so there were so many things that came up, and then I was chatting with Charlotte, who's, I can't remember if it was in this episode or another episode, now I'm like going back in my head, but we were going through the things that she had recently bought, and she was like, was this necessary or was this not necessary? And sometimes it's hard, and it's nice having a partner to sort of bounce it off of and be like, is this a necessary thing or can this wait? But I find that for me and financially, that has been like one of the most helpful things is the reviewing, which a lot of us
The
don't want to have to go
reviewing.
back. Yeah, we don't want to go back. We don't want to have to do it. Sometimes we feel like shame about what we bought or whatever, but it's such a helpful practice I have found. And like helping me with my budgeting going forward.
Well, and you don't feel like you're doing it alone. So I feel like when you are in a partnership and you're talking about finances, there's always going to be that one person who is going to be putting together the expenses, like the reporting, which I'm totally type A. Like that's my jam. I will put together the budget, and then it's up to my husband to sit down and review it and then offer any feedback of what's going on. The only way that I could get him to sit down and look at the budget was with a really good craft beer. And if I could incentivize and have him sit down and we could have a nice beer while we budget. And that's how the YouTube series Beers and Budgeting was formed on my channel. So every single month, it's our accountability where we sit down, we talk about our finances, everything like the income, the expenses, and then what changes we want to make for the next month and really identifying where are those spending challenges. And I'm so glad you did a no spend. Like that's
It was so
hard.
fun. Yeah.
It's
It was
hard.
fun. No, we had a good time though. It was hard, but we also, I mean, we had planned, we knew that it was coming. And so we were, we were ready for it. It was hard, but in a really good way. It was really, really great. We loved it. But I love that idea of incentivizing the budget sit down because it can be like easy to I love that as a tip to end on. I promised you that I wasn't gonna take too much of your time because I know getting back to work after a second baby. But what a great little tip to like incentivize it, whether you go to like a coffee date or some of us don't have that ability. So maybe you just make a coffee at home or you do it. You
Pizza
put the kids to bed
night.
I
Yeah.
love that. Oh,
So
I love
just
that.
add a fun treat into the budget, like budget review, add some fun music, just
Yes.
make it more fun because the more fun it is, then the more willing both parties are going to come to the table and sit down and take a look at things.
Thank you, Justine, so much. We will have all of your information in the show notes, as always, of where people can find you. Your YouTube channel is a wealth of knowledge, so thank you for all you do.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, and welcome back. It is time for Pits and Peaks. Who wants to go first? Anybody? Do I have to pick someone? Okay,
No,
go.
I'll go. I have a pit and a peak. And they're both, one is a definite peak, one is a peak pit. A little bit of a pit is that Arthur is 10. Something about your youngest turning 10 feels like I don't have any babies anymore. Like 10 seems like a legit double-digit number.
Yeah.
So that's hitting. That's a little bittersweet. And then, but my oldest is coming home from school today. She should be in the car as we speak. So it's nice to have everyone back. Probably doesn't help our budget, but it's nice to have everyone help.
Who's next? Caitlin, you want to go?
I was going to talk about the chipmunks in our yard, but I'm not going to. I'll go off of, so this is like, I guess, a peak, and it goes off of money. So every summer we go away with family, and usually it's like the grandparents' trips. So it ends up literally being a break from us spending money all the time because they rented a house, they buy the food, we just sit on a beach and we get a break. And it's kind of like a nice reset for us because right now during this time of year, there's just so much we've been spending money on. I feel like every time we turn around, you're spending money. And then at the end of summer, you have to go back to school, and then I spend money again. So we're getting a break, two different 2-week breaks where my bank account won't be active. So that's a peak.
That is a peak.
Yes. If you would like, I will tell you where we'll be.
Megan, do you have a pit or a peak for us this week?
I have a pit, and it's been bothering me just because things have been busy. My planters still aren't done on the front door and on the deck.
Mine aren't either.
It's just like it's just pretty to walk in and then on the deck. And the weather too has not really like made it been like, oh yeah, let's get them done. I mean, I should give it as a chore to one of the children, maybe see if they want to help. We bought some you know what I forgot to add, Kallie? I love the dollar store. I forgot to mention that. Love the dollar store. I go there for all my cards. Sorry. Like when you have to go to like a communion.
Yeah.
Yes, rather than spending $7 at CVS, you get it for $1. It's $1.25 now, but
yeah, it is.
Anyways, Gianna, we bought gardening gloves at the dollar store recently and some seeds to plant in the yard. But yeah, those planters are still not done. So it's a pit, but I think it'll eventually turn into a peak.
Well, when you plant
I
yours,
believe
who
in you.
waters them? Because I told Brandon,
Me.
I was like, I want to do mine. And he's like, they're just going to die. And I said, why? And he goes, because every year you plant them and they look nice for a couple weeks and then you forget to water them or we're away. And then,
Yeah. Yeah. Or, yeah. You know what? And I should start. If I do ask the kids, I might have to repeat it 1 to 2 to
800
3
times.
times. But yeah.
100.
But yeah. And I
Well,
like going out there and
I have a
watering
good
them.
hack for you. So I
Yes.
didn't do the flowers on our front porch because usually you do them in May and we didn't know by May and that wasn't a necessity, so I didn't buy them. So then we got to the end of May going into June and Michael kept asking, "Oh, we don't have any flowers." And I was like, "We're not doing it cuz it's no by May." So then when May was over, he had gone to the grocery store and he came home with flowers and he thought that they were so great and he's so proud of the ones that he picked out that he's watering them because he
Oh,
doesn't want them to
wow.
die. So
Oh,
Oh,
Michael.
okay. I
off
got to do
my
that
plate.
maybe.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
wait until somebody says there's no flowers. Maybe they'll buy flowers and maybe they'll water them.
I like that.
Could work.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'll try.
They've been alive for a week, so maybe not even.
Yeah.
But we'll see how long it lasts.
What's your peak or pit?
I have a peak. We did a huge declutter this weekend, which is just always there's something
feels so
so satisfying. It was just very I was extremely ruthless because my kids are home for the whole summer and I just didn't want shit everywhere. And so huge declutter of all their stuff. Opal is now almost 9 months, so she's out of a lot of the baby stuff. So just getting rid of all of the baby stuff, just random baby stuff I kept because I was always going to have another baby, like burp cloths and all of this just stuff. And it just everything feels. I went through the kids. Why do the kids have the most random stuff in their bedroom? And I feel like I just went in there.
Arthur still has his Valentine's Day box.
So
I
does
threw it out.
Eiley.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I threw it out. That was absolutely one of the things. And I was like, I feel like it's been long enough that he's not, I just got rid of it.
No,
I
he was
I feel
like,
he's not going to notice. Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, that's still there. I was like, yeah, bro, you sit here every day. I've been here for 30 seconds. Yeah, it's still here.
Yeah. Well, Miles is very attached to things. So
Sure.
you have to be very broken that I was throwing out. I was getting rid of. I had this old bag and it had some spare sheets in it for a bed that we don't have the size of that bed anymore. So I was like, we don't need these anymore. And it was in one of those bags, the big bags.
The Ziploc ones?
Yeah. And he wanted to keep the bag. I'm like, we don't need this old bag.
Yeah.
He just wants to keep everything. So I have to do it when he's not looking, or I get the big black garbage bags. It goes into there.
Yes.
And there's our church does this huge white elephant sale. It's humongous. People line the streets for days. And so luckily I've been able to, he's kind of okay for giving it to somebody. So I've been able to be most of it's going there. So that's at least kind of good, but feels so great. I still have 2 rooms left to do, but my whole house feels better.
Seriously. You should see our playroom. It's like a bomb went off and everyone's like, it smells. I'm like, whoa, what's it smell from? Did someone leave
Go
a
find
pizza
it.
I know.
Yeah.
It smells like a dead animal. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Tell Dad. Right?
If you find it, then you can get a Starbucks this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoever finds it.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, guys. This is the end where I'm supposed to tell you to leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts and follow us on social media. And Megan's gearing up. We're going to do a new outro where we clap and do a cheer. Megan, go.
I'm Megan.
I'm Charlotte.
I'm Caitlin. I thought we were supposed to say something like, I'm Caitlin. I like cats. I thought that's how it went.
My favorite color is red.
I'm Kallie, and this is the end.